area of 500,000 square miles. Twice the size of Texas. Well done!
This is Mike Adamo from Med Device Talent. I'm here to talk to you about asking for a raise. This is a subject that gets people really stressed out, but I'm going to help make it a little bit easier for you and make you a lot more prepared. In fact, I've got a ton of resources on this subject, and it's part of my new approach to giving you a multimedia blitz on important subjects to your career. So getting a pay increase is all about the 4 P's, which is planning, presenting, partnership, and performing. So let's talk about what each one of these components means when it comes to getting a pay increase. So planning. If you follow any of my content, whether it's one of my books or some of my YouTubes or my podcasts or my articles, you'll see what a big, huge fan I am of planning. Anytime you go into a crucial conversation, anytime you're working on your career, the plan is the first place that I start. Because if you don't know what your destination is, then how are you going to know that you got there? Planning has 2 components. The first is market research, right? So some people feel that they're underpaid, but when you really look into it, they're actually fairly paid for what they do. So you need to talk to other people about this. Don't go online and use salary calculators. They're massively incorrect. You can talk to people in your organization. Of course, HR is not going to like that. Talk to people in your industry. Talk to headhunters. Headhunters talk to a lot of people in your space, and they can more clearly evaluate your skills, experience, and where you should be on your pay. Because if you're going to ask for a raise, or if you're feeling underpaid, you want to understand how underpaid you are, if you really are underpaid, and what the market looks like for your skill set, because that's also important. Because if they're not going to give you a raise, maybe you're going to look for a job, and if there's no market for your skills, hey, maybe you're not that underpaid. The other reason to talk about this even is you want to do this before you look for a job. And the reason for that is, 1, you've invested in this organization. Unless you've been there for more than 7 or 8 years or 10 years, you don't necessarily have to leave unless you can't move forward. And sometimes people feel like they can't move forward, but at the end of the day, when you bring up this issue with your boss and you're a top performer and you're really valued, they're willing to work with you. And so it's most important to do this at the beginning before you get into a search. Then at the end, when you've already gone through interviews, you've accepted a job, and then maybe they come back to you and say, hey, we'll give you a pay increase, and you do a really huge career mistake, which is called accepting a counteroffer. Instead, ask for a raise first, and you know what, if they're not willing to do it, then you know where you stand, and that's really important because knowing is half the battle. The second thing in your plan is you're going to plan how you're going to talk to your boss. So what are you going to say? How are you going to say it? You're also going to gather a list of your accomplishments. So you want to get a list of the things, the value that you brought to the organization in at least the last 12 months, maybe 18 months, because you want to have a list. They're not going to give you a pay increase because they feel like you're a good person and they love you. They're going to give you a pay increase because you're a performer that adds value to the organization. So you need to be able to talk to what that value is. Now you're going to present. So presenting is actually sitting down with your boss and presenting the fact that you feel like you are not at market and that you want to have them look at it and make a change. So, you won't be getting up there with a PowerPoint presentation. You're going to go up there and talking to people. So the first part of presenting is actually going to be talking about your accomplishments. So the first thing you're going to do is you're going to ask for an assessment of how you've been doing. So you ask for feedback. Hey, boss, I wanted to talk to you a little bit about how has my performance been over the last year. And what you want to hear is, hey, you've been great, Mike. We're really pleased with you. This is where your list that I told you about a couple minutes is going to come in, because you're going to feed them. You're going to give them more things that you've been doing great so that they really have a good feeling about you if you've been performing, and they're aware of what the impact of what you're doing is. You want your boss hyper aware of the value that you're creating for the organization. In fact, if you're not feeling like you've been in a really good run where you've been creating a lot of value recently, don't go ask for a raise. Go create value. Go perform, which is my 4th P, which we're going to get to, but I'll say it now. Performance leads to pay increases, not whiny people that think they should get more pay. So in terms of your presentation, you're going to talk to your boss. Hey, I'm glad you're feeling like I'm performing well. I wanted to talk to you about an issue that is impacting my performance, and that's that I feel that that my compensation is frustrating me. So I don't feel that my compensation is in line with the value that I'm adding to the organization, and that's making me feel frustrated. The reason you do that is, again, you don't want to create defensiveness. If you say, hey, I'm underpaid, I feel like you're not paying me enough, Enough is judgment. Underpaid is a judgment. The feeling that you're not in line with value, what you're going for is a place where your boss or your supervisor is going to empathize with you. Say, oh, gee, I never knew you felt that way. Your performance is really important to us. We value you. Let's come up with a plan to get you where you want to be. So the goal of a effective presentation is to create partnership. And you're going to move during the presentation to partnership, and you're going to talk about how together you're going to get where compensation needs to be. So what this would sound like is, what can I do to get my performance levels up to where you'd be comfortable advocating for me, representing me with senior leadership, so that we can start to work on my compensation. So you see how you turn it around to yourself. You're not going to say, you need to do this, boss. You need to do that. You're going to say, what do I need to do to help you get where we want to go? See, that's partnership right there. You need to is not partnership. That's demanding, and that's not going to work. Final thing you need to do to get a pay increase, you need to be a top performer. We talked about this a little bit, but remember, people are going to give you a pay increase not because they like you and you're a good person. They're going to do it because you're kicking tail and you're someone they value that they can't afford to lose. By creating these 4 P's of planning, presenting, partnership, and performance, you will be more confident going in, asking for that raise, and you will create an environment with your company, and they're going to be more likely to not neglect you and keep you where you need to go. And if you're not where you need to go, to get you where you need to go faster. So thanks for tuning in. If you like what we're doing, go ahead and hit that subscribe button right now. Also, you can check out my podcast at the Med Device Talent website, or you can check me out on LinkedIn where there's tons of articles. You can check out my blog. There's a link there. And be part of this community, because I'm here to help you be better in your career, to meet the goals that you have, and to get where you want to go. Thanks for tuning in and have a great day.
Search area.